education, Laurie Kilmartin.
Laurie Kilmartin.
Yes, ma'am.
Here we are. It's a brave, horrible new world.
It's really awful. It's
dumb.
It's
Next
also,
up, Brown versus Board of Education.
that shit. They're gonna try to leave everything up to the states, and I'm worried. Also, I mean, there's so many things to worry about.
But what's the lesson? But yes, what are you worried?
Yeah. I'm worried that how they're going to be tracking women in some of these states is going to, if you think that you're a dude and this doesn't affect you, it will. It's going to broaden out how they're going to track us. And now I sound like a fucking QAnoner, but honestly, it's not good. And I'm also worried about female comics who are talking about, like, joking about their abortions in these states. I'm worried that have also been emboldened to have concealed weapons with no permits. You know, it's I don't know.
One of the guys that I just ended up hanging out with, he was like, well, here's the good news. They're not going to go after the women. They're going to go after the doctors.
What?
Oh, God, that is not good news.
There's no fucking upside, and you dumb shit, they are going to go after the women and the doctors.
And the doctors.
And the Uber drivers that drop them off, and everybody.
Anybody they can. Everybody they can, except for the men with their dicks.
Right.
But so the lesson that I get from this is that we have to pass laws. We cannot leave it up to, we've had 47 odd years of the highest court in the land. Nobody's going to challenge it, kind of thing. So nobody codified it, right? Or codified it. I can't remember the pronunciation. But so we have to do that with gay rights. We have to do that with women's rights. We have to do that with racial rights. All these things have to be on books as laws that then have to be repealed by the crazies.
Yeah, I mean, it's all under the right to privacy umbrella, at least with Roe v. Wade, and it needs to be specifically said you can have an abortion. Women, anyone who needs an abortion can have an abortion, and it's between the person and their doctor.
Did you see Kirkman was talking about, the real reason, with the legalization of abortion, it opened up a lot of different things that were available to women healthcare wise, fibroids and other problems with our plumbing situation down there were looked into more, and that will all be affected too. So yeah, turns out abortion is healthcare.
Yeah, it's
I saw your giant sign, by the way.
Yeah. You know me, I love a sign. I'm one of those white ladies that likes to put a big sign up.
Big sign on the house.
Yeah. It was just such a it's weird because you knew it was coming, but it kind of felt like, wow, there was such a backlash to it. Maybe they'll back away. Maybe they'll be timid. And instead they dropped it on a Friday and then they just scooted out of town.
That's what I've noticed about lawyers. They love a Friday. They love to ruin a weekend is what they like to do.
Yeah.
I was asking my lawyers why always on a Friday, and they were like, literally, just because then it cuts down on rebuttal time. But and then everybody's a lot calmer by Monday, and you're like, fuck you. So there was all of that. How was your week of stand-up comedy?
Oh, good. I had a lot of spots around here, and
good.
Yeah, it was fine. Just there's some chunk that worked really well at Marcella's Women Crush Wednesday, and then which was on a Saturday, and I have not been able to replicate its success.
Timing or verbiage? Words or timing? Can't tell.
I don't know, and it was just off of me coming off a flight from Barcelona, so sort of off of that. So it might have been just writing on that energy, but it just seems to not have legs, which is a bummer because I thought it did when I said it,
Yeah.
So whatever, but there was
it'll come back. It just that whole second, third time you tell a joke, That's why I was terrified to try. There's a joke that will one day be perfect for the Brian Regan audience. Sadly, I've only done it once on stage.
Okay.
And it's so long. It doesn't have an end. There's maybe one or two punchlines in it that are in the middle, maybe at the beginning. Hey, that's not stand-up comedy. That's a mess. So don't do it in front of 1,400 to 2,000 people in a rando weird seaside resort. I didn't.
Oh, okay. I thought you were giving yourself a pep talk.
No, I pep talked myself right out of doing it, and I was correct. Though the second, I only did three nights with him, and so the second show, I decided to try the gun bit, and I swear to God, as I'm doing the gun bit, I'm just seeing children in the audience. So many children in the audience, and I'm like, and in my head, I'm saying the gun bit out loud, and I'm thinking, this is too dark. What are you doing? This is too dark.
Right.
And it is, it made me lose the thread, as you can imagine.
Interesting.
And then I had to I had to actually take a second and do my old Terrigen Mist joke while I figured out where the hell I was going, and then come back into it. And so Brian, when I introduced him, he gave me this look. And so I got off stage and we were hanging out afterwards, and I was like, and I told him about the gun bit and the emotions during the bit. And he was like, no, you do whatever you want. I don't, I'm not going to tell you. And I, because one of the first times I worked with him, I told him I had a bit I wanted to do, that it wasn't sexual. It wasn't graphic in any way, shape, or form, but it was very dark. And he got this hurt look at his face, and he goes, I like dark. Why do people think I don't like dark? But it was a really fun weekend with him, man. It was a couple of his friends from high school. So he shot something for the NFL network because he played college football. And his buddies,
where did he play?
He played at something that starts with an H. You've never heard of it. It's a college it's not Harvard. It's a hit guard or something like that. I don't know what it was. But his buddies who he went to high school with, one of them ended up at the New York Giants. And so they came in, and the three of them did something for NFL movies or whatever. And here's a good sign when you meet somebody, is that all of their friends that they've had for over 40 years are also decent people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a nice, everyone always goes, Brian is such a good guy, such a nice guy. And then you meet his friends and you're like, oh, he's also a nice guy. And he's a good guy, because his friends are people that are decent human beings. It was nice. It was good. And then I hung out with some Boston comics. Mm-hmm. Jim Dunn. Mm-hmm. You know him? He's a writer, comic dude. And a guy named Josh Day, who was the guy who organized our Boston live Jackie and Laurie.
Yeah, right.
So Josh Day came out. That was in New Hampshire. They both live kind of close to it. And,
cool.
And I got my chops busted for going to breakfast with a local club owner.
Right.
And
you've got to speak carefully, Jackie.
Well, except for that, I was also told because I talked to a couple other local, because I had breakfast with him. Yeah. And at the end of breakfast, he drops a bombshell about how he's been banned from his four-walling gig before the new club opens.
Wait, he opened a comedy club and he's banned from his own club?
A four-wall, just until the full club is.
They all have four walls.
Like at a Best Western, like at a bar restaurant.
Okay, all right.
Where it's not a club. It's just part of a bigger business that just puts up a show, kind of like in LA, except for that it pays and they charge.
Yeah. Triple stuff.
Like triple stuff. Yeah. And so so the story.
And he's banned because he's too supportive of comedians.
Women in general. No, he had his laptop open to Pornhub at work in public.
Okay. All right.
And the guy who owned the bar was like, get out. And your name came up, by the way, when he told me that.
Why?
Because
Was he looking at my Pornhub channel?
Well, and that's the thing is comics make so many jokes about porn and so many jokes about Pornhub that unless you were a 60-year-old man and you should be expected to know better than to actually watch porn in public at work.
It's so normalized. People forget that you're actually not supposed to do that.
Not
you
people.
know?
Persons.
Jackie,
Singular.
I don't want to stigmatize a gender. I want to cast a wide net. And then whoever gets caught on that net, they're 100% cis straight men.
But he did make me laugh because I was trying to explain, to go, hey man, public, you're at work, don't, what the fuck? But without, because I'm such a meddler, right? Like I fucking want to fix it because he's not, I don't know him very well, but he's not a monster or he never has been to me, right? So I was just like, you sound like an idiot. What the hell? With the public and the thing. And he was like, well, what I learned was that I should have a different laptop for home and for work.
I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. That is one lesson you could learn.
I told him the joke that you told about getting a second laptop, a second iPad. Your second iPad joke.
Oh, yeah. Oh, in my head, that's part of my mom dying chunk, but in your head, that's a porn joke. Interesting.
Right. In my head, it's somebody. Oh, that was the other thing. So in the middle of this story, I'm going to tell you another one.
Finish this story, and I'll remind you of the other one.
Okay.
Give me one keyword to say to you.
Dennis.
Okay.
And, so he said that's what he learned, and I was like, sure, that is also something you could learn from this. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping you learn. No, not close all tabs.
Just go home.
Go home and do it that way.
Yeah.
And then the comics that I was out to dinner with a couple of days later told me that it was much worse than that. And so I texted him the next day and I was like, hey, fucker, I got my chops busted for a half an hour because the story was a lot worse than that. And he was like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah, I was told that you did this and this and this other thing. And he's like, well, that's not true. And I was like, well, then you better triage some bullshit, man, because the word on the street is that you're a dum-dum and a gross dum-dum. So I got a text from him this morning saying he's looking into it. He's going to
investigate these claims. Oh my goodness.
No, I think,
hope he finds the real sexual harassers.
Well, one of the comics was telling me that that the only way he could fix this is if he went into like sex and SLAA rehab.
Wow. All right.
Because he's also, they were, and the three of them were also telling me that he drinks a bit. And I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, whatever. And then, and when I say a bit, I mean, like I used to. So he
drinks 2 Kashians a day.
he might have some Kashian drinking qualities, but I can't say. I've never seen it, but so, and he was like, but it was so funny because one of the texts he said, well, how do I triage this without trying to justify it? And I was like, well, that is the problem. You can't justify it. Not if even what you said happened. There is no justification. All you can do is say, well, I'm not going to do that again. And I'm sorry for doing it.
How can I make it up to you?
Is there a way that I can make this? And he was, and I guess the woman that he was running the bar gig with is doing that gig now. And he was like, well, maybe I could talk to the bar owner. And I was like, why don't you talk to your comedy partner, who is now running that gig, and maybe she might have an idea of what you could actually do. Because the bar owner kicked him out. Yeah. But he's got to work with the woman. So I don't know, and I don't want to throw him under the bus too hard. Yeah. But maybe he throws himself under the bus. I don't know.
We because of our age, I believe we give too much sympathy to these. We're like, anyone can watch porn at a daycare, when it happens. Like, we're so used to just going, look, give the guy a second chance. We can't be trusted with this information.
Right.
We're not hard asses like the others, the younger ladies are.
It's true.
Yes.
Yeah. The 35-year-olds will bust his chops for it's over. So
that's why a lot of times when people they get mad at comics for saying things or for not saying things, it's like, I know what's going on. You know what? You're a certain
right.
age. It's like I know this.
They kept busting my chops,
right?
And then it came back. Like 45 minutes later, we're still sitting there, and it came back, and another round of ball busting happens. And finally, I just go, he owns a comedy club. What part of that don't you people understand?
The other thing is now there's something to bust your balls about, which is fun for everybody.
That's good times for everyone.
It's East Coast conversation anytime you walk into a club, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, fine. Now it's just going to be 24/7 with the adjudication. She goes out with predators. And I was like, I don't think he's I don't know what he... And then the next day I went to lunch with just one of the old guard, right? Like one of the old comics from back in the day. You don't remember Jack Lynch?
Yes. Wait, no. I was thinking of Jack Gallagher. No.
Boston guy. Boston guy, really funny. But we went to lunch. And so when I saw Brian and everybody that night, I get did you vet him? Are you sure he's okay? And I was like, yes, he's fine. So there's no reason. So you're right. Every time I come into the room, they're like, another round of, let's ask Jackie if she's hanging out with a weirdo.
And it gives people some small talk. It gives people something to do. You provided a service.
Oh, thank you so much.
Did you ever? Jack Gallagher was so funny. I think he might have just slipped away into corporate land. Sure. But he was a Boston guy, and he lived in San Francisco for a while, and then he went up, or maybe he ended up in Sacramento. But he had a show on the air. He had he was one of those guys, they're like, we're doing a show on your life, based on your life, a sitcom. And he had one for maybe a season or half a season, and it just didn't go anywhere.
Laporte.
And then
Rocky Laporte, remember that guy?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It was back in the late '90s.
Yeah.
When a bunch of contracts were given out, not to me and you, or you and I, but to a lot of guys. And my other favorite comedy story that came up, because Brian's partner, his girlfriend, is a very nice woman, but she was talking about how they met, and they met at the Harry Basil Laugh Factory in Vegas, right? Because she's friends with Harry Basil's wife. They both do nonprofits together.
Okay.
And Harry Basil has a show. He's a comic, but he also does something called Harryoke.
Sure, Jackie, you got to.
Who would name somebody Harry and not have Harryoke?
What about?
I don't know.
Jackie-oke. I mean, honestly, I think your name fits into a lot of things that have the word joke into them.
It's yeah. I almost admitted something that would haunt me, so I'm not going to be talking about that nickname wise. But
okay.
But here's when she met him. They were watching Jackie Flynn.
Oh, yeah.
You know Jackie Flynn.
He's out here. He's out here too. And I think I did a St. Patrick's Day show with him that Greg Fitzsimmons put on at a golf.
Yeah, you would.
You
would.
Yeah.
And so he was closing the factory, and Brian was watching the show with Jimmy Schubert, and so the two of them. And she ended up with Brian, and I was like, oh, dodged a bullet there. And Jimmy Schubert has been nothing except for nice, and then too nice, and then standoffish.
He's only been nice to me, never too nice.
Yeah,
yes.
You were count your stars. And, but it's funny because Brian will go. He had come to see Jackie Flynn's show.
Yeah,
and so he didn't talk to the woman who is now his girlfriend throughout the entire show because Brian's a little OCD.
He's respectful.
He's enormously respectful.
Yeah, he's watching a show.
Right, and he also doesn't want to get his chops busted because because he doesn't approve of it, and so
talking in the show. Yeah, that makes
talking
sense.
during the show. And I remember one of the first weekends I went out with him. Sebastian Maniscalco, that guy. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
He was playing Cobbs. And Brian, we did some theater I opened for Brian at some theater, and then he said, "Do you want to go? I've heard that people are comparing him to me."
Weird.
And so I thought that I would go
Wow.
watch that guy. Do you want to come watch that guy? Do you want to come out? And I was like, sure. Thinking that we would go see a comedy show like comics go see a comedy show, which is you don't see a comedy show.
You sit in the green room.
In the green room, and then you come downstairs and watch 3 jokes, and then you go back upstairs.
Yeah, he's like me. All right. Anyway.
Brian, MC, feature, headliner, whole show, sat through it.
Interesting.
And so also
he's in Vegas, right? And he's handpicking his features. So he's not seeing a lot of new people unless he goes out of his way to see them.
Which is exactly why he does it. He likes to hang out with comics. He always wants me to invite comics when I open for him to hang out. And so, and then remember when I just did Royal Oak, the Comedy Castle, Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle.
Yeah, you don't need to rub it in. I got it.
Oh yeah, your July is epic. So leave me alone.
Okay.
So but he was doing a theater in Detroit with, I think it was Stephen, I forget his last name, a funny kid, opening for him. And they came to my show and did that.
Oh, nice.
MC, the feature, and me. I did not know that. It didn't even occur to me.
Thank God.
Because I thought that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm working on my cock ring bit. Is that gonna? And as Brian would say, it's not that I don't like dirty stuff. I just am not dirty. It's just I can laugh at dirty stuff. Anyway, so.
Oh yeah, he's
human.
putting on a show, and he wants, at least he's within his rights. I saw well, Laura Keitlinger, I saw her show.
Oh, did you go to that?
It was really good. Yeah,
Okay, good.
It was really good. She's got a little hot goss in the set that I'll just tell you afterwards. I'm like, is that just like a one-time riff because it was, a small audience and she felt comfortable? I'm not gonna spread that one on the internet.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was great to see her. She's so funny, and then I've decided that we have to have amnesty for bad abortion takes this weekend because people are freaking out. And so, Elaine Boozler posted a tweet where she's like, our generation fought for it and you guys were getting butt implants. And it's like, oh boy.
Wait, I saw that tweet of Elaine Boozler's and I was like, those are 2 separate sentences.
Oh my God. I know.
One does not have anything to do with the other. What do you think she meant? She meant that they didn't fight for it, so they don't deserve it?
Something like that. But listen,
Along
here's
those
the
lines?
thing.
Okay.
Everyone, there's amnesty this weekend. All right.
Everyone is
so upset. People aren't making sense. She came up in comedy in even a more sexist time than you and I did. And I just feel like that all carves.
Market.
Yeah. That all carve, I can't think of the word. It changes how you look at women when you don't get to work with them, or you know what I mean. It just it affects you a lot, and
it's more a boys' club in her head than anybody's, even ours,
and ours. That wouldn't necessarily give you more sympathy to younger women.
Nope.
It might make you go, in
Suck
her case,
walk it off.
Right. I had to go through a lot of hard shit, so stop complaining. It's way easier for you, right? And also you guys aren't, I don't even know if she feels this way, but there is a sort of a lack of awareness of the barriers that she broke, I mean, we all know within our own little circles, but what she did and when she did it was really, really hard.
It was hard, and she got screwed over as much or more than any of us.
Yeah, and she wasn't overtly, she wasn't like super sexual. Like I just was watching some of her. She didn't take like the persona path really.
Yeah.
Which is one that works. However you figure out what it is.
Yeah.
And she kind of just was, she had like a super Seinfeld-y delivery, and I could see being Elaine Boozer just watching all this shit get rained down on Seinfeld and going, what the fuck? You know?
You know, she was supposed to, the Elaine character was based on her.
No, I thought it was based on Carol Leifer. I'm pretty sure it's based on Leifer.
I thought it was, but
No,
maybe I'm
it's
just
Carol
conflating because
Leifer.
it's Elaine.
I'm
I'm probably wrong. Yeah.
I don't think Boozer ran in those circles, like in Seinfeld circles. I think she's always been sort of separate from the packs of comics that were running around back in the day.
Fair enough. So you think it was based on Carol Leifer? Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was. That's why, and Carol was a writer on the show as well.
Oh,
like,
then
she
definitely.
was like friends.
Then I'm totally wrong. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, you know, it was like she is.
There's no reason to be a crazy old dinosaur, but you're willing to give everybody amnesty this weekend.
Yes, I am, and I would like it for myself. People have misinterpreted some of my tweets. I think you did.
Oh. I didn't. It was that guy who did a lateral chat move on you. You were riffing on some abortion.
Oh, you said lateral chaw. I'm like, what?
Right. Autocorrect. I can't.
Okay. All right.
Though cha isn't a word, so that's
cha. I thought it was some dance reference. I'm like, she can explain it to
hot
me.
Goss. It's like hot cha, and but what you were genuinely talking about.
I was
just women comics and just going on the road. You want there to
what
be
I was
women
saying
comics.
Was like, hey, if you're a female something like between the ages of 12 and 45, which I thought, ding, 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 ding. What are those ages? That's when you're menstruating, basically, and that's when you're fertile. Okay. Although technically, going by my nieces and other girls, it should be like 10. All right, whatever. Yeah, it's happening earlier, but okay, whatever. I just went with my own. And, you know, a good way to, like, basically go get an abortion is say you're a comic and you've got a gig in California or whatever, right?
Right. It was Canada. Yeah. Yeah,
but it was a better written version of that. And then people are like, why? Somebody was like, over the age of 45? Yeah, that's really ageist. I'm like, 12-year-olds shouldn't be on the road either. It's fucking an allusion to abortion. Everyone just fucking calm down.
And then one guy said something like, I don't understand any men who don't think women are funny.
What? Yeah, no one even brought that up.
Left field. And I was like, dude, if that is the thing that's really pissing me off today.
There's some guys where it's, you just scratch them a little bit and they go, I think women are hilarious. Wait, we were talking about Ukraine. What the fuck? Stop it. Why is that the first thing that you think of to say to me, a female comic? Oh my God. So annoying.
Yeah.
So I would recommend listening to WTF. Maybe not you, because you haven't seen Hacks.
Okay.
But did Oscar do it?
Yeah, she just did it.
Cool. Jen Statsky, who is one of the creators of Hacks.
Okay.
And she was kind of coming up. She tried stand up once, I guess, but she's like a writer and was an improv person. Again, kids, go into improv, please. Do not become stand ups. It leads to
there's
nothing
a pension.
but a podcast.
Exactly.
Okay? That's it. The improv people know how to work with each other, and they know how to collaborate, and they make shit.
Right. They get things made.
Yeah.
We're just continuing to write jokes.
But the other thing, like, they're kind of like talking about people that had shows, long running shows in Vegas, like the Gene Smart character does. But all the
Judy
people
Tenuta.
No, but they didn't bring up Judy. No one brought up Judy Tenuta or Rita Rudner. I'm like, but those are the two women. I didn't know Tenuta had one, but I know Rita Rudner has like a theater, or she did for a long time.
Right. I thought Judy.
Do you think Judy Tenuta does? I don't think she does.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
maybe
my
Kyle
point
can look
is
that
like,
up. He's very quiet today.
Even when people are actively trying to come up with female references, they mostly have male comics in their brains, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Some
guy told me he was writing on Twitter. He was like, hey, I'm writing a book about comedy. I was wondering if I could get a quote from you. And I said, the history of men in comedy? Yeah, email me. And so he emails me and he goes, It's a lot of women. I'm doing a lot of women. And I was like, how many? Give me some numbers. I wanted to do it, but I didn't want to. As I'm tired, Laurie. I'm tired of fighting, though I will continue to fight. We will all continue to live. We will all continue to fight. And we will all, in the end, punch a Nazi in the nose. And then life will continue or not. The bus driver for Brian all weekend, he 3 times asked me how many people are on this planet. He was like, when do you think it's going to really reduce? When do you think is it going to be a nuke? What do you think it's going to be? And I was like, hey, Ed, I don't know.
COVID, monkeypox, and criminalizing abortion is going to actually make a lot of women probably get their tubes tied and just go, fuck it, I'm not going to even deal with this,
Hey, let's take a break.
But first, Judy Snuda has not only had a Vegas show, but she is on the Vegas Walk of Fame for her contribution to the time in Vegas.
Yeah. So that's what I
cool.
thought.
Does she have a theater? Like, does she?
I don't think she does anymore. I think she might be
she was
retired,
just doing residence.
I think she's one of the ones that went pretty early on and kind of set the tone for what we think of as the residencies.
Oh, neat. Cool, man. Good for her.
Yeah, very much so. And then who's our let's take that break. Let's do that comic of the week.
Our comic of the week. First of all, I was like, oh, we should do this one as a comic of the week because of what happened. But I'm like, oh, we've already done her. Well, we haven't. Alison Leiby, who has a show on either on Broadway or off Broadway, but it's like a big show in a real theater in New York called Oh God, a show about abortion. It's at the Cherry Lane. I don't know if the Cherry Lane is considered whatever it is.
Broadway,
it's very prestigious.
But it's Cherry Lane, yeah.
Yes, and Jacqueline Novak had her show there, so get on your knees. So it's like a great venue for a one-person show, and it's coming to Largo if it's not already here.
And how do you spell Leiby?
Leiby. No, excuse me, I'm wrong. Leiby. Leiby.
And her Twitter and Instagram is just at her name?
Yeah, Alison 1L, Leiby, Leiby.
All right, 1L for Alison. All right.
And she's a swimmer. Now, so there's a lot going on there, but she's really, really funny. I worked with her. I think I did a show, Luisa Diaz's show Casual Sets maybe with Alison. And then we were hanging out at a bar afterwards talking. And anyway, she was prepping for her show, I think. But go see it if you can. Everyone says it's great. It's getting incredible, great reviews.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing. I come back from the bathroom the night that I get my balls busted, and they go, "Oh, were you just calling Louis C.K.?" And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you guys, get off my areola.
I love this new riff on you. And you know what? Credit to the Boston comics for never not being assholes. Like, they continue a long tradition started by Lenny Clack and Steve
Click
Sweeney, etc. Yeah.
He wasn't part of Click and Clack, but
what's Click and Clack?
It was an NPR car show.
Okay.
I'm 100 and listened to NPR when I was a child, like a weirdo.
And Zig Ziglar, your favorite stand-up.
You gotta love Zig Ziglar. So the other thing that happened, so this guy, I forgot to mention the guy that played for the New York Giants. I wrote it down because I knew Jackie and Laurie fans would want to know who did play for the New York Giants and is friends with Brian Regan and went to high school with him. Mike Whittington, you guys, 1980 to 1984 was in the NFL. And I watched his reel and hilariously, he became a firefighter for about 5 years after he got out of the NFL.
Hello.
Dr. Rachel Feinstein. One of my favorite premises, because her husband's a firefighter.
Oh, I know. I think he's retired too. Is he retired? Like she married a fire chief or whatever. He's high up though.
Oh, is it? Because the joke I heard was the premise was adult men shouldn't have sleepovers because
the firefighters.
Right, the firefighters. It's like 3 days on, 4 days off, 4 days on, 3 days off, and so her husband will come home and he'll be like, "Vinny says we should buy Bitcoin."
Oh my God!
We're not taking advice from Vinny.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so the bit just keeps going. It's a really great bit. And
Well, your mention of the football player reminded me that Vic Henley, may he rest in peace, hilarious guy. His brother Terry played for the University of Alabama. I think that's the famous
Okay.
school in Alabama. But there might be a different one. Auburn or
There's both.
well,
and they're both probably pretty football-y,
And
but he
bitter
played.
rivals.
yeah, he played for probably the one I said. If they're rivals, then I probably pulled
There's
up
no
the wrong
win here.
school
We should
name.
run.
Yeah, but yeah, I have no story about it, but I just got in my head Vic Henley talking about his brother.
All I have are
some
other
conversation popped up
Yeah.
in my head. Yeah.
All I have are other people's bits. The other thing that happened is I think Jack Lynch told me that his favorite Dennis Regan bit was that Dennis Regan said that he went swimming off the coast of Florida and there was a shark. And then he said, "There's no music." I was like,
He was
that is
waiting
one of the
for that
greatest-
warning. Oh, that's hilarious.
I was
That's
like,
great.
that is a really great joke. So, yeah, I have a bunch of sets this week. What
that's
did I
good.
remind you?
You reminded me that I need to say out loud the material I'm going to do for this show on the 16th, which is my birthday in San Leandro, because it's an outdoor show for a city parks show.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to send a W-2 to that guy too. Hold on, let me.
Yeah,
Is it a W-2 or W-9 or a?
W9.
79.
So many.
Well,
can't remember
I have
all
mine
this
on
shit.
my phone, and then I just drop it so that when
Oh,
my
good
phone
idea.
gets stolen, they'll have all of my information. And
But I should say it out loud because you think a bit's clean and then you start. Because I just did. Nicole Blaine opened a room. Did I tell you that in Santa Monica?
yeah,
Called The Crow. And
she just sent me a Veils.
oh, cool. Yeah.
So, and
it's really
I
cool.
had to triage my email so hard. I just got off the plane, so whatever. But
Okay.
yeah, so this is
Jackie,
the thing on the 16th that has to be squeaky, right?
Yes, so I need to say this stuff out loud to make sure there's no hidden references or allusions that will trouble children and parents.
Exactly. That's
Because
the
when I
Brian
was-
Regan.
When I was at the Crow, I was like, I didn't really pay attention because only 10 minutes set. And then I was getting into things, and I was like, wait, oh shit, I know how this ends now. I'm bored.
You know, I used to try to do material when I opened for Brian that was like, I would find the kid in the audience and try to make them laugh or at least interested. And this
That's a
time
good
I
idea.
just saw him and I was like, I felt the draw of it.
Mhm.
And I was like, fuck that kid. And when I went over here, they were really, really fun shows, except for me trying to do that gun bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, but we were in Jersey yesterday on the Jersey Shore, essentially.
Oh, neat.
And it was, so I started doing my white lady, Yellowstone, I'm a white person, you got to
Right.
confront other white people joke.
Mhm.
And they tightened up a little bit on me. And I just looked at them and smiled. I was like, screw you bastards. And we're going to do this joke and make you laugh. And so it came to pass. I have a lot of sets this week, though. Do you have a lot? I'm psyched. I'm going to be in town for a couple of weeks before until my birthday. I'm in town till the 20th.
Oh, I am. I have like some local stuff Tuesday, Thursday, and then I just put in.
What's your Tuesday? What's your Thursday? Because
It's
I have a
on my-
Wednesday, Friday, Sunday.
It's on my refrigerator.
We should talk.
I should.
I'm doing Better Half.
Okay, cool.
Kara Clank.
At Bar Lubitsch.
I don't think Better Half with Jared Logan and no, it's down. It's behind some bar. It's not Bar Lubitsch.
Okay.
But Kara Clank has that great bit. I was just thinking about that. She has a great bit about birth control.
Uh-huh.
Like, do you know how birth control works? And nobody in the audience ever does.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really.
I do know that from the emails I got after my MSNBC appearance is that conservatives think that babies are placed at 10 pounds on like a plate, and then carved by abortionists into little pieces and then
and made
injected into vaccines.
Right, and made it a Taco Tuesday. Yeah, they're out of there. Yeah, there's no way that's happening. None of that, and they don't know what abortion is. They don't even know what it is or why.
I have family members that did not get the vaccine, the COVID vaccine, because they the fetal cells
that they were sure
stem cells or whatever. I should even know what they're
what their craze was. What their freak
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm doing that on Wednesday, and then Friday I'm at the Lyric, and I'm doing Faded. So, and then I also got the offer to do Comedy and Magic in July for free.
Oh yeah. I got that email.
They're back. Yeah,
well, it's their anniversary shows.
Yeah, it's their every July. It's going to be 30 comics.
You do get a $30 to $50 meal with it.
Right. What do you get? I'm always curious what you order.
I get salmon.
You order the salmon.
Yeah, I would. Every once in a while I'll get some steak, but usually the salmon because I have a ton of salmon because I still get wild Alaskan, but they prepare it so well. They have good chefs there. They have great chefs there.
And then Sunday and Monday. Actually, that Monday at Flappers got canceled, right? Did our Jackie and Laurie get canceled?
Yeah, because I think they're still closed on Mondays.
Right. They're still trying to get enough staff. Who was I talking to about? You keep running into people, and they're like, people are lazy. They don't want to work. And I was like, no, 16 months of them living on top of their parents again, or with like 5 people that they barely know, taught them that they didn't have to have that shitty job. And now they're trying to figure out a different way to make a living where it isn't that thing that makes them age prematurely. So why don't you cut them some slack?
Somebody else was like, somebody on Twitter was like, hey, did you guys forget that over 1 million people died? And that's part of the worker shortage. It's not that they're lazy, it's that they're dead.
Yeah, and a lot of people who died were I don't know how many were elderly, like percentage wise what the breakdown was, but I think that a lot of young essential workers.
A lot of restaurant workers, a lot of people that were front facing, died before they could get vaccines. Yeah, so that's why they're not showing up to work.
That's an excellent point. I forgot.
And maybe their friends are like, "Hey, I should apply for that job, but Dave died. So let me see if I can start a podcast instead and take it to Patreon."
Let's see if there's a GoFundMe that I can sort of rock. So I'm in town for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm in town this weekend for sure, and then the following weekend I go to Go Bananas,
Cincinnati.
I'm flying out a day ahead. You know what I did?
Out of LAX, right?
First of all, hold on. So I had an LAX where I leave at 9 a.m. and I don't get in till 11 o'clock at night to Cincy. And I was looking at this flight and it's Southwest, and I was like, this is so fucking shitty. So then I just you go into Southwest site. They do let you change things without these fees, which is great. Yeah. So I plug in Burbank as a departure, and Burbank had been exponentially more expensive like a month ago when I bought the ticket, and going in and out added only $130 to the flight, which should be how much the entire flight costs to that fucking city anyway. But whatever. Yeah, $300. So because me getting to LAX and either parking a car for 4 days or taking a cab, that's way over $200 right there.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. It is.
So I'm going to leave a little bit later in the day at 11 and still get in at 11 o'clock at night in Cincy, but it's not going to be horrific.
Right. And you'll be able to sack out and sleep it out the next day. So that's the good news.
Yes. It's like, oh my God, this dog. Like I love Charmy and I'm glad we have her, but it's expensive to put a dog in a kennel for, like, not only is this flight
what are you doing for
ridiculous, your son? He's also in a kennel.
It's interesting. So you're also having someone.
Yeah.
You should have someone stay with both of them. And,
no, he's doing a different thing with his dad. But it's just expensive, and obviously I don't have like a little lap dog I can take with me. She's got to go in a kennel. So like these road gigs, this one's coinciding when my son's going to be doing something with his dad. It's like, God, that's going to be another $250. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Where am I making money here?
Right, you are not. This is
My
this is
expenses
one of those
right off
things
the bat are like $1,100 for this Thursday through
weekend.
Saturday.
That's. Are you getting that good Ohio exposure? Is that what
I
is that what
am,
it is?
and
Excellent.
I'm excited to be near a state with low vaccination rates. So
Excellent.
I will
Finally.
be bringing my, of course, my purifier, and I will plug it in on stage, and hope that it's still between that and my 4 shots, I'm still protected. You know.
Mm-hmm. I got to get the 4th shot.
Oh.
Yeah,
you
and I want to
should.
get the shingle shot.
Oh yeah, Jackie. Yes.
I know I'm behind on my
If
vaccines.
you get shingles, you will be so fun. You will spend the rest of your life going, "Why did I didn't get that fucking shot?" It's so easy
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah. Okay, maybe I'll just go and do
Immediately.
it this week. Yeah.
Yes.
I got to take my mother-in-law to the dentist, and then we're looking at some sort of. I'm on task, is what I'm saying.
You
I got
have
some-
you have appointments this week.
yeah, I got appointments during the day as well.
Yes. I watched,
But my tomatoes are coming in. I came home. I got cherry tomatoes. I got grape tomatoes. I got heirlooms.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, let's take a break.
Okay. Oh, okay. There's a mystery rodent that is chewing on my milkweeds, which are the monarch butterfly plants.
They're for the butterflies.
They're fucking for the
That's for
butterflies.
the boys. That's for the
At
boys.
first, because I had them like near the front of the yard, and I thought, oh, it's some pro-lifer coming to snip my milkweeds.
Wow, QAnon.
So then I moved it in like a place where you can't get it, and whatever it was, when it's like it's got beaver teeth, whatever it is, because it's a really hard cut.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it, and I even took it.
What do they like about it? Yeah, that's so
I don't
weird.
know. And I took it to like a gardening center, and the guy was like, "I've never heard of that before." Well, it's happening. I mean, these are pictures. I have proof.
Did you
So-
take it in a bag? My gardening center has
I took a
giant signs that
picture.
said, "Oh, you took a picture?" Because if you
Yeah.
bring a clipping, always put it in a separate like Ziploc, so that because they're like no samples out of Ziplocs because you will poison all of our plants. So if you bring a sample of something you want to look at, they always want it in a separate zip.
Well, so that's a mystery that I still don't know, who's coming after or what's coming after my milkweed.
Right.
But this reminds me of somebody who had a successful milkweed situation. Emily Heller was posting on Twitter. She had 2 caterpillars.
For real.
And
I saw that.
Yeah, they turned into butterflies. It was really beautiful. But also, I finished watching Barry this weekend.
Right. The
And
murderer.
Emily
Yeah.
writes on it, and oh my god, season 3 is so great. And
Yeah.
one of the episodes she wrote is like fucking. I mean, everyone works on everything, I think,
Yeah.
but she got the credit on this one, and it was like incredible.
Yeah.
So I can't recommend Barry enough. It's
Right.
It's
It
kind
is
of,
super dark. I watched the first season
yeah.
to be supportive, and then I was scared.
You were scared.
I was too scared.
Bill Hader is scary.
He's terrifying. I watched the first 2 episodes of Ms. Marvel. Anybody want to watch that? Because it's pretty great.
Oh, I haven't done
Second
that.
ep was better than the first.
Fun.
Yeah, he can tap into some anger that I'm like, wow, that
I don't know if
exists in
you're
you.
acting. Yes.
It's a little, yeah, but good for it. But it's really well done. It's great.
Yeah.
And Vanessa Bayer has a scene that should win an Academy Award, which I know
Doesn't
they
happen with
don't
TV.
give Oscars to TV shows for
One
one 5-minute
exception.
appearance.
But Laurie would like to suggest
Yes,
that they do that.
please,
Just
please.
one exception, please.
So funny, so great.
It's, Kirkman posted this thing today with a GIF of Devil
say
Wears
GIF.
Prada.
Yeah,
I say GIF. Devil Wears Prada, where she goes, "Oh, okay. You think that this doesn't have anything to do with you?" It's that line Meryl Streep has about the sweater.
okay.
I remember the line distinctly
I don't
because I don't
remember.
know if you ever saw The Devil Wears Prada,
No,
but it is 2 separate movies. There's a movie that Meryl Streep is in, and then there's the movie that everybody else is in. Meryl Streep is in a drama, and it's amazing, this drama.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like Julie and Julia. Did you ever see that? About Julia Child and
think I didn't, but I did watch Julia, the HBO series,
And it was a delight, right?
Sarah Lancaster. Lancaster, I think?
Having
Oh,
the time
so
of her
good.
life.
So
Yes. I have I've put on my Amazon Prime list Happy Valley, which is a show that she did
great.
in the early 2000s. Oh,
It's
you've
great.
seen it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you have seen so much television. Oh my
Yeah.
God. How did I
I don't know.
I was hoping to tell you about something.
Haha.
Where are we at here, Kyle?
We're
If I
at
could just-
49.
I'm trying to get this. There used to be this Ray Ellen, who is a New York guy, a comic, and he books a room in Aruba too. But I think it's one that doesn't pay great. But you
No,
get to go to
that's the one
Aruba.
that ends up either you break even, or
Yeah.
it costs you money if you bring a partner or if you bring anybody with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but also, guess what? That gig is Cincinnati for me. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
You would have brought the dog.
so a long time ago, like in, I guess 2000, because I was pregnant. So I would say 2007, into 2008, maybe. He had a site called Daily Comedy, and it was kind of like a Twittery kind of site where comics would just write jokes, post them, and I forget how they would go out on the internet. I don't know if they went through Twitter, but it was some way where if you subscribed, you got these jokes, right?
Okay.
And it was just a fun way to write monologue jokes, and you got a little bit of money.
Okay.
The guy behind it had a lot of money.
Yeah.
Who was funding Ray, and he was a super nice guy. He had an incredible brownstone in the East 90s that we went to once. I was like, oh, people live like this. Oh my gosh, like 4 stories, 3 stories,
Yeah.
whatever. But one thing I did with my son's father is we were together at the time, and I was like 7 or 8 months pregnant, is we went to Prospect Park, and I tried to get people to pledge to adopt my baby because I didn't want it. It was really fun. I went out. I'm like, big. I was out there, pretty pregnant with signs, just trying to get people interested. And I'm trying to get that footage. I would love to see it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I hardly have any. It's hard to believe, but in 2007, we weren't
doing
recording ourselves that much, and you weren't taking pictures that much, and so you had to use like a regular camera, and who fucking had that on their person all the time,
Right.
So
It
2006. I'm sorry, 2000.
earlier,
My son was
yeah.
born in 2006. Yeah, okay,
Well,
so it's
and
2006.
my wedding was in 2006, and I remember we had disposable cameras at the wedding.
like those little yellow
yeah.
orange ones.
Yeah. You had to get developed.
Yeah.
And so clearly nobody had, back 1,000 years ago, right? So the first time I went to New York City, it was over New Year's Eve, and one night I went with my very cool friend. She was my cool friend, Jenny Bergman. And Jenny Bergman her mom started it, a toy store on West 86th in Amsterdam, right? West
Still?
Side Kids. Yep, she still has it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Jenny's now. And but we were both like 18 or 19 when this happened. I was a year older, so I could buy the booze, and we would go to these parties. I was there for a week and a half, right? 2 weeks. And she took me to 2 different parties. One was a party where we listened to jazz, Laurie. We listened to jazz. I wasn't available. I wasn't available to hear jazz, but I went anyway. And it was in one of those brownstones that had like a library, like up to the ceiling library.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, it was the coolest thing. The other party we went to, no jazz. It was just a lot of gyrating 19-year-olds. And then I walked into the night. It was, and then I lived, but I was embarrassed because I was throwing up in the sink.
Of the brownstone
party? No,
Okay.
of the New Year's Eve party. I
Okay.
got very embarrassed. I was throwing up in the sink.
Okay.
I realized later that I was throwing up in the sink because someone was already throwing up in the toilet and someone else was throwing up in the tub. So
you need a lot of plumbing for some of these parties.
yeah, if you're 19 and there's a lot of people drinking lemonade and vodka, country time. So I walked into the street. It was easily like I think it was right after midnight on New Year's Eve, and I didn't know where I was, but I had to get back up to Morningside Park by NYU.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I walked, and I kept asking people where Penn
By
Station
Columbia.
was.
By
Yeah.
Columbia.
Oh, Columbia, that's it. And so I walk up, and I'm like, "Where's Penn Station? Where's Penn Station?" And
Wow,
everyone's like,
I'm
"That
having
way,
a hard
it's that
time
way."
visualizing this.
Well,
but
and
I know.
finally somebody goes, "It's a couple. It's a gay couple, two guys." And I say, "Where's Penn Station?" They're like, right there. It's right there." Golden New York opportunity for sarcasm. And I was like, "Oh, thank you." And one of them says goodbye to the other guy, and he goes, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "The subway to Morningside. I gotta go to Columbia." And he's like, "All right." And he walked me. He paid a token. He paid for not a token at the time. It was money.
Yeah.
I know it was a token. And
Well, you had to buy a token. Yeah.
Right, he had to buy a token. So he put me on the train.
That's
He
nice.
was like, yeah, it was incredibly nice. And as the doors were closing, I genuinely remember him saying, "Where are you from?" And he's like, "Wisconsin." And he goes,
God.
"Go back."
Oh my God.
So anyway, and then I wasn't killed.
Been an angel who saved your life.
An angel. There was plenty
Yeah.
of, I had plenty of angels when I was a drunkerson. It was nice. People.
Where
mean
were you
well.
staying at Morningside Heights? That's a nice area too.
Well, not at the time. I was house and cat sitting for a friend of my sister's, apartment and cat sitting for a friend of my sister's. And what the big note when I got to the apartment was, "Do not let the cat out, and never go into the park." It was 1986.
Oh, right.
And so she was like, "Never go into the park." And then underneath it, there was something else. And then on the bottom, it said, "Don't even go on that side of the street." So, yeah.
Wow.
Now that's the place where I felt like I had been a coward, but I don't know that it was cowardice so much as it was survival is what it was. So anyway, so I'm coming back from hanging out with Jenny one night, and I opened the door. It's not a doorman building, it's just an apartment building with an elevator, right? So I open the door closes, and all of a sudden I hear footsteps, and a guy's at that glass door pounding. And he's like, "Let me in, let me in, let me in. Someone's chasing me. Let me in, let me in, let me in. Someone's chasing me." And I am like, "I can't. I'm very sorry." And it wasn't like I said, "Keep running," but I was like, I don't know. "Someone's chasing you?" And he's like, "Let me in, let me in."
What happened?
He tried to get me to open the door for like almost 40 seconds, and nobody came behind him.
Whoa.
So I didn't know if he was just trying to get in so that he could attack me.
Oh my God.
So I didn't let him in, and I felt kind of bad. I felt very bad. I was like, I hope that guy didn't die because I didn't let him in. But I didn't want to die in case he was a bad guy.
Right.
So there was that whole...
No, you did the right thing, but I can
take care
understand.
of me, but it was terrifying, and I felt bad for him. But I was like, "I can't, man. I'm very sorry, I can't."
Did you read? Were there any murders the next day in the newspaper or anything like that?
I did not check the murder.
Classic Jackie. You feel terrible for 5 seconds, and then you move on.
Classic Kilmartin. Let's scan the papers. See if I could have been the victim.
Well, no, if he had been murdered, I wondered if he had actually been murdered.
Right. Well, he didn't tell me his name. So I wouldn't have known who to look for.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Well.
But I'm jonesing to go to New York. I got a friend who told me she would lend me her apartment. So
where's this person live?
Brooklyn.
Okay, whereabouts?
I don't know. Park Slope,
Prospect
maybe?
Park. Oh,
Prospect.
Park Slope's nice. I lived there for a year. It's super.
She said I could
yuppie
stay
now.
there for. She's only going to be in New York 3 months on, 3 months off. She said I could stay as much as I want.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah. That'll be nice.
Yeah.
Jackie just told me who owns the apartment. I'm like, oh yeah, definitely.
And she said I just had to pay. The only thing I would have to pay is when I left, they would hire a cleaning service.
Oh my God.
And she said it would be maybe $150, $125.
Oh my God, that's nice.
I mean, that's the biggest part of going to New York is trying to find a place to stay.
Yeah.
Every time I've gone in the last 5 or 8 years, I've had to spend $1,000 on hotel.
Yeah.
So, or a lot of points.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep.
I don't use air conditioning. That's my rule, unless it's just terrible. And I'm telling you though, there are 4 hours in the day here where I can barely get off the bed.
I'm in the room of requirement, sweating. We have a tiny air conditioner, and it really is pointless. I would rather just have the fan, quite honestly.